Hello, YouTube. I am Queen Lillie. I had to go out and start over because for some reason, no one could hear me. So I'm starting over. Hi, I am Queen Lillie, and I hope y'all enjoy my show today. We're talking about Life Under Trump, Part 44. I'm going to be discussing Pete Hegseth because y'all know he had that confirmation hearing today. We will be discussing Donald Trump and Jack Smith because Judge Cannon allowed him to release the records. Yes, he has released Donald Trump's filings from January 6th. And that was a big thing because Trump did everything in his might to stop it from being released. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, please, because I had to go off and come back in. So we got a lot to cover. With Pete Hegseth, his confirmation hearing was today. Can you hear me? It's a huge no for me. To me, he's not qualified. And from watching the hearing and the questions that they were giving him, it appears he definitely is not qualified. Also, I'm going to show you a video to that in just a moment. Can you hear me? Thank you so much, Sarah Deputy Wanders. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my live. Trump, he is also embarrassed by Jack Smith, who has exposed him. So I'm going to show y'all some videos to that. I'm going to go back and read over the files that I read over earlier that I have about Jack Smith releasing and exposing Donald Trump. We're going to go over a lot of things, even with Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood is being exposed even more because you know she will be performing at Donald Trump's inauguration on January the 20th. So we got a lot to talk about, especially with this Pete Hegseth. It's a lot. Hey, Queen Vera, how you doing? Were you on the other chat earlier, the other live that I had to shut down because I had to shut down my live because they told me they couldn't hear me? And I apologize for that. I wouldn't want to do anything to keep y'all from having a great show. I apologize to the highest. Hello, King Gerald. How you doing? So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna go back and read over some of the filings from Jack Smith, which I read and nobody could hear me. Ain't that something? Hit that like button as you coming in. Thank each and every last one of you beautiful kings and queens for taking your evening and coming to my live. Hello, Mental. Hi, how you doing? Hello, King Mason. How you doing? I appreciate you. So we're going to get started up again. Can y'all hear me? Let me know you can hear me, please. Gerald Glass says, my ancestors like Black women. I like Black women too. Thank you, King Gerald. How sweet of you. Thank you so much. Very kind. John Anderson, thank you, King. King Mason, thank you. King Victor, thank you so much. Thank you. You're so kind. Thank you. Queen Vera said loud and clear. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all can hear me. So we're going to go back and we're going to start all over because y'all were not able to hear me, and I apologize. Just a moment. I'm going to read just a snippet of the filing from Jack Smith that he released after 12 o'clock last night, okay? I apologize for earlier. The Jack Smith report. This is Jack Smith, Volume 1. So this will cover some of the investigative challenges and litigation issues. Under page 107, Part A, pre-indictment litigation with third parties. Number 1 and 2 under that. Number 1 is the Twitter X search warrant on page 108. Number 2, legislative privilege under the speech or debate clause, page 110. This is from Jack Smith. Part B, threats and harassment of witnesses. Part C, Mr. Trump's claims of executive privilege, page 116. Part D, presidential immunity, page 122. Part 1, prosecutorial decisions during the charging stage, page 123. prosecutorial decision charges during the charging stage, page 123. Number 2, immunity litigations, page 126. Part 3, unresolved issues regarding presidential immunity, 132. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. Thank you. Okay, Zarina. Okay, can you make a heart? Beautiful lady. I think that's how they do it. Is that okay? Okay. Number 2, immunity litigations. Number 3, unsolved issues regarding presidential immunity. Conclusion on page 136. Page 138, key filings and insignificant litigations. So this is a 174-page document that Judge Cannon allowed Jack Smith to release. So we're just going to go through a couple of things. And this is on page 3 that I'm about to read, you guys, okay? As directed by the principals, I made my decision in this case without regard to Mr. Trump's political association, activities, or beliefs, or the possible personal professional consequences of a prosecution for me or any member of my office. Justice Manuel, the likelihood of a equitable due to unpopularity of some aspect of the prosecution or because of the overwhelming popularity of the defendant in his cause, or the converse, were not factors in any prosecutive decisions. My office also adhere at all times to the department's policy against interfering in elections. As a former chief of department's public integrity section, it was important to me, as it is to you, that we adhere to both the letter and spirit of this policy. I can assure that neither I nor the prosecutors on my team would have tolerated or taken part in any action by our office for partisan political purposes. Throughout my service as a special counsel, seeking to influence the election one way or the other, or seeking to interfere in its outcome, played no role in our work. My office had one North Star: to follow the facts and law wherever they lead. Nothing more and nothing less, says Jack Smith. While I relied greatly on counsel, judgment, and advice for our team, I wanted to be clear that the ultimate decision to bring charges against Mr. Trump were mine. It is a decision I stand behind fully. To have done otherwise on the facts developed during our work would have been to shrink my duties as a prosecutor and a public servant. After nearly 30 years of public service, that is a choice I could not abide. It is equally important for me to make clear that nobody within the Department of Justice ever sought to interfere with or improperly influence my prosecutor decision making. The regulations under which I was appointed provided you with the authority to countermand my decisions, but you did not do so, nor did you, the Deputy Attorney General, or members of your staff ever attempt to improperly influence my decision as to whether to bring charges. Hold on. Now we're going to go to section 2, law. Based on the above facts and after analyzing the relevant criminal statutes, the office sought and a grand jury found probable cause for an indictment for Mr. Trump on 4 federal charges: conspiring to obstruct the government function of selecting and certifying the President of the United States is a violation of Section 18 U.S.C. 371, obstructing and attempting to obstruct the official proceeding on January 6, 2021, in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1512 C2, conspiring to obstruct the official proceeding in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1512 31K, 1512K, and conspiring to violate the federal rights of citizens to vote and have votes counted, to not have votes counted, in violation of 18 U.S.C. 241 because of the unprecedented facts and variety of legal issues that would be litigated in this case. The office was aware of the case involved litigation risk, as would any case of this scope and complexity. So that's just part of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just went through certain parts, but it's a lot going on with Donald Trump. A lot. And Jack Smith is exposing him. You can actually Google and get this file yourself. So now I'm going to show you all a video discussing Jack Smith exposes Trump files and Donald Trump freaks out. One moment, please. Subscribe to Occupy Democrats for me, please. Fair use, educational purposes, and research. I'm going to clean the screen off. One moment. Thank you for coming to my live. Hit that like button, you guys. Thank you so much. We got to let the commercial play, then we'll get started. Witty Bitty said, "You're ridiculous." Well, thank you for the compliment. Joe Dirt said, is she Maxine Waters? It's amazing how white men come in my chat and try to insult me by calling me somebody else. Well, you know, me and Maxine Waters look nothing alike. I guarantee you one thing, I look better than your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever.
The special counsel report on Trump's election interference case was released after midnight last night, and Trump went ballistic. He was so panicked. Trump is going to be a very, very cranky baby today, throwing lots of tantrums because he was up late.
Now, that's what you do. Joe Dirt he said, shouldn't you be out shop looting? No, that's what MAGA does. Y'all looted the Capitol. And you're a thief. You stole Nancy Pelosi files and stuff. I don't steal, baby. And I don't loot. This pretty face don't have time for that nonsense.
Election interference, but was delaying judgment on part 2 of the report, the classified documents case. Trump's lawyers filed a last-minute motion to delay yesterday, but Cannon denied them, which set the stage for the report to be released on Tuesday, January 14th. And that's exactly what the DOJ did, posting the report not long after midnight for the entire world to see, wisely putting it up before Trump's lawyers could file a motion with the Supreme Court. And here's the funniest part of the report's release. Trump had obviously been told by his lawyers that Cannon ruled against him and that the report might be released after midnight because he was up late watching Seth Meyers, who was busy ridiculing Trump right at that moment. Watch this.
We know very little about what Trump's second term will be like, given that he has no fixed principles or core beliefs or coherent ideas or constructive solutions or plans or proposals or policies or values or thoughts of any kind. He watches TV and then he screen posts about what he just saw on TV.
The irony that Myers made fun of Trump for rage posting about what he sees on TV was as golden as it gets, because Trump then turned around and rage posted this. How bad is Seth Meyers on NBC, a network run by a truly bad group of people But the real irony here is that while Trump was rage posting about Seth Meyers, the DOJ was busy releasing the report online just minutes before. And the report itself does not pull any punches. Here's CNN's summary of the report.
Breaking overnight, if he was not going to be president in 6 days, he would have been a convicted federal felon. That is the thrust of the final report from now former special counsel Jack Smith, released by the Justice Department while you were sleeping. It is an extraordinary document for posterity, if nothing else. And there will be nothing else. Jack Smith resigned Friday night, and there will be no prosecution. And this pertains only to the election interference case. The report on classified documents will not be made public.
Now, of course, it's not particularly surprising that Smith had confidence in his ability to secure a conviction, but that's not what's going on here. Smith wants it as part of the official government record that criminally indicted Trump was indeed going to be convicted had not this corrupt Supreme Court intervened to save him. All that was just a little too much for Trump's fragile little ego. So Trump stayed in his rage-posting groove and wrote this. Deranged Jack Smith was unable to successfully prosecute the political opponent of his boss, crooked Joe Biden. So he ends up writing yet another report based on information that the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs illegally destroyed and deleted, because it showed how totally innocent I was and how completely guilty Nancy Pelosi and others were. Republicans in Congress are in shock that Trump is actually deflecting guilt by blaming others like Nancy Pelosi. They are so outraged at Trump's behavior that they are now threatening funding for California wildfires. Ha! Almost had you there, didn't I? Yeah. Once again, the circulation of this lie, this complete and total lie that the J6 committee destroyed evidence. Lie upon lie upon lie. And you can be sure that the Republican chorus denouncing Jack Smith will be louder than the J6 choir. But Trump was not done. He also wrote, Jack is a lame-brained prosecutor who was unable to get his case tried before the election, which I won in a landslide. The voters have spoken. Yes, Donnie boy, the voters have spoken. Remember the cost of eggs, the cost of gas? You're supposed to lower them. Oh, and remember no income tax on tips? When do you plan on delivering that campaign promise? Last time I checked, you were supposed to have stopped the Ukraine war by now. Gee, it's almost like you had no plan to govern. You were just trying to stay out of jail. So the special counsel report...
He doesn't have a plan. He has a concept. Remember? He doesn't have a plan. He has concepts. One moment, please. We're going to move on to another thing that is going on. Michelle Obama will not be attending Donald Trump's inauguration. Not only did she wasn't at Jimmy Carter's memorial because of who? Donnie Boy. Her and her husband, President Obama, had to sit by him. And you notice the seat was empty beside President Obama. That's what Michelle's supposed to have sat. But she didn't want to deal with Donald Trump and his pissy depends. So we're going to get on to this part, okay? Michelle Obama will not be attending Donnie Boy's inauguration. From what the word is on the street, Trump being told not to attend it. J.D. Vance said he just may not attend it because he's going to a ball game. One moment.
Building your online business?
It's a commercial. Just
Go
a
to
moment,
Wix.com
please.
and set up your store on a single integrated platform. Add products. Showcase them.
Michelle Obama will not be in attendance at Donald Trump's inauguration. After the former First Lady and wife to Barack Obama missed Jimmy Carter's funeral on January 7th, a spokesperson for the couple confirms that she will also miss the January 20th inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump. A spokesperson for the couple says in a statement to E! News, quote, former President Barack Obama is confirmed to attend the 60th inaugural ceremonies. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend the upcoming inauguration. In addition to Barack, former presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, as well as their spouses Hillary Clinton and Laura Bush, will be in attendance at Donald Trump's January 20th swearing-in ceremony. Their respective representatives told the Associated Press. President Joe Biden confirmed he would attend last month, per Reuters. Michelle's absence comes only a week after she missed Jimmy Carter's memorial, making her the only spouse of a former leader not in attendance. Although the occasion marked the first time every living former president had convened since 2018, Michelle was MIA due to her extending her time in Hawaii, as CNN's Jeff Cellini reported at the time. Despite missing the memorial, Michelle did pay her respects to former President Carter, who died on December 29th at age 100. Through a joint statement with her husband they shared to Instagram on December 29th, saying, quote, President Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. Michelle and I send our thoughts and prayers to the Carter family and everyone who loved and learned from this remarkable man.
So she will not be attending Donald Trump's inauguration. And there will be plenty more that have said they're not attending it. What they say, Godspeed. So we're going to get on to the liar, Pete Hegseth. We're going to just get on over to him right quick, okay? Listen to his mess, what's going on with him, and how he has gotten schooled by getting questioned, which he had no answers for, and he just sat there and lied the entire time. But the Republicans that questioned him gave him softball questions. One moment, please. I do not believe he should be in the Department of Defense. He has no experience. He doesn't even qualify. And he just like Donald Trump. They both are two men that have had 3 wives and cheated on each wife. One of Pete's wives, he cheated on her and got someone pregnant. Does that remind you of somebody?
Donald Trump cabinet pick.
Subscribe to Occupy Democrats, please.
Much maligned Pete Hegseth, and deservedly so, is in his confirmation hearings right now. And he is getting absolutely destroyed. And I'm going to show you that breaking story in just a few seconds, because the breaking part of it is the question he gets asked by a double amputee veteran, and he can't answer one of the most basic questions he would need to know. But I'm going to show you that to you in just a few seconds. But leading up to it, watch what happens to him throughout this hearing, getting hammered with simple stuff he refuses to answer. Take a look.
I want you to be able to tell me what kind of guidance will be given to those employees, what will happen if, whether or not you pass that audit. Have you led an audit of any organization? Yes or no? I don't want a long answer. Yes or no? Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally responsible.
Yes or no? Did you lead an audit?
And the way
yes or no? Did you lead an audit? Yes or no?
Completely.
What are you afraid of? You can't answer this question. Yes or no? Did you lead an audit? Do you not know this answer?
Senator,
yes
every part of my leadership of these organizations has been misrepresented.
I will take that as a no.
You needed to be carried out of the event for being intoxicated.
Senator, anonymous smears.
Just true or false? Very simple. Summer of 2014 in Cleveland, drunk in public with the CVA team.
Anonymous smears.
I'm just asking for true or false question. True or false answers. An event in North Carolina, drunk in front of 3 young female staff members after you had instituted a no alcohol policy and then reversed it. True or false?
Anonymous smears.
December of 2014 at the CVA Christmas party at the Grand Hyatt at Washington, D.C., you were noticeably intoxicated and had to be carried up to your room. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
You say you've had personal issues in your past Yet when asked about those very issues, you blame an anonymous smear campaign, even when many of these claims are not anonymous. Which is it? Have you overcome personal issues? Or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. It's clear to me that you're not being honest with us or the American people, because you know the truth would disqualify you from getting the job. What concerns me just as much is the idea of having a Secretary of Defense who is not transparent.
Sure. What is the highest level of international security agreement that you have led? And can you name some that the Secretary of Defense would lead? There's three main ones. Do you know?
I have not been involved in international security arrangements because I have not been in government other than serving in the military. So my job has been to.
So no, the answer is, can you name one of the three main ones that the Secretary of Defense
defense
signs?
arrangements. I mean, NATO might be one that you're referring to.
Status of Forces Agreement would be one of them.
Status of Forces Agreement. I've been a part of teaching about Status of Forces Agreement.
But you don't remember to mention it? You're not qualified, Mr. Hegseth.
The guy was Senator Gabby Gifford's husband from Arizona, but the woman is a double amputee veteran, Tammy Duckworth. And she asked Pete Hegseth the most basic question to become the Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, and he literally cannot answer it. Here is the story right now.
You're not qualified. You talk about qualified to that. You could do acquisition and cross-servicing agreements, which essentially are security agreements. You can't even mention that. You've done none of those. You talked about the Indo-Pacific a little bit, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. Can you name the importance of at least one of the nations in the ASEAN, and what type of agreement we have with at least one of those nations? And how many nations are in ASEAN, by the way?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of nations in that, but I know we have allies in South Korea and Japan and in AUKUS with Australia, trying to work on submarines with them.
Mr. Hegseth, none of those countries are in ASEAN.
Across.
None of those three countries that you've mentioned are in ASEAN. I suggest you do a little homework before you prepare for these types of negotiations. Listen,
I'm sorry. I'm not up for the Secretary of Defense, okay? I don't have to know what the ASEAN group of countries is.
Yes, she is right.
Of Southeastern Asian nations.
Seat side,
that
she's right.
Such, I don't know, weird.
Hit that like button, beautiful
like
people.
Thailand, Malaysia.
Come on, hit that like button.
Vietnam,
Thank you.
And a handful of others, Brunei and such. But the point being is that if you're up for the Secretary of Defense and you espouse all of this genius and how deserved you are to be in this position, for
Vera, Queen, she didn't come to play.
Are you kidding me that you don't even know some of the basic questions he just got asked, much less who the ASEAN countries are? That I don't even know if that's freshman level stuff.
Come on, hit that like button, beautiful people, all you beautiful kings and queens.
Stuff. Again, setting aside the fact that if you want to be the Secretary of Defense, I prefer somebody who has more like a PhD or a doctorate analogy to intelligence about the globe and the United States of America's military impact on the globe along with our setup. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, and yet I can almost bet you that this clown, literal veteran clown as it relates to this position, is still going to get confirmed. And that's why, folks, elections matter. They're still going to follow Daddy Donald Trump. And the people I feel sorry for at this point is every single military personnel who could potentially be in real active duty harm's way in the next 4 years if this jackhole is the Secretary of Defense. Stay smart, try to stay calm, talk to people you both agree and disagree with, but always stay frosty.
Subscribe to Occupy Democrats. Please subscribe to his channel. It's very informative. Okay, we have more on Pete Hegseth. Yes, more on Pete. He is the man of the hour, him and Donald Trump. But right now it's all about Pete. One moment, please.
That Saturday morning Fox News host,
Ooh,
Pete
sorry,
Hegseth,
y'all. Sorry about
he ain't
that.
qualified to be Secretary of Defense, Trump's reporters. Y'all, I hate to be the one to have to tell you that, but I've been watching those confirmation hearings, and have y'all watched them?
Can y'all hear it? Let me know if you can hear
pay
it.
attention to anything. Well, because your guy won, and that's all that matters. And you don't really follow politics or what our government's
Vera, can
doing
you
at
hear
all.
it?
You just repeat what you hear on the Fox News and stuff like that. Try to make yourself sound smart, but you always just make yourself look like an idiot all the time. But anyway, so I know you haven't been paying attention to what's going on, so let me go ahead and clue you in. He ain't qualified. All right. This Pete Hegseth feller, no, see, he wouldn't even be qualified enough to run a security guard agency. You know, he couldn't even do that. Now, if you were basing his qualifications on how much he has in common with Donald Trump, now then he would be super qualified. You know, because that Pete Hegseth,
hold on, y'all.
He was a Fox News host. You know, and Donald Trump was a reality show host. And Pete Hegseth cheated on all three of his wives, and Donald Trump cheated on all three of his wives. Pete Hegseth, is accused of actual assault on a woman, and Donald Trump's been accused of actual assault on many women, even found liable for one of them. Would have been found guilty if the statute of limitations hadn't run out. But anyway, and then that Pete Hegseth, he gets women to sign some NDAs, for some hush monies, and Donald Trump gets lots of women to sign NDAs for some hush monies, so. And that Pete Hegseth is an addict, except for his choice of addiction. There's alcohol. He's a raging alcoholic, and Donald Trump, well, his big thing is Adderall. He likes to take it up the nose. So always has for years and years. That's why he's got that orange crap on his face, y'all, because he blew out his septum, had to have some nasal surgery. He used that orange crap to cover it up. But anyway, yes, that Pete Hegseth is a raging alcoholic. Now, he said that he would stop alcoholicing if he got that job. That's what he said, that he would stop alcoholicing if he got that job, because that's how alcoholism works. Get you a new job, you just stop being an alcoholic. It's just the way it works, according to Pete Hegseth. So he'll never be an alcoholic on that job that he has to be performing 24/7 as the Secretary of Defense, so he'll stop alcohol and probably stop raping women and stuff like that too, put that on hold. But anyway, so he has all that in common with Donald F. and Trump there. So if that was the qualifications, he'd be super qualified, but unfortunately it's not. So he's going to be, leading and managing 3 million people. So, and he also don't believe that women should serve in the military, and he don't believe that Democrats should be allowed to serve in the military, stuff like that. So he's a prick, and he's stupid, and he's arrogant, and that always gets people in trouble. So he thinks things like that. So therefore, he ain't qualified. What I'm telling you now, he is one of them Christian nationalist fellers, though. Now, if you think being a Christian nationalist makes you qualified to be the Secretary of Defense, well, then he's qualified, because he was supposed to be providing security over one of those inaugurations, but they told him he couldn't because the military deemed him as an extremist. Well, he said the reason why they did that is because he's got a Christian tattoo. Well, it ain't just a Christian tattoo; it's the cross of Jerusalem, which glorifies the Crusades, which is saying, hey, convert to my religion or else. That's what it says. And then he's got him another special tattoo, and that is Leviticus 19:28, where God tells you not to put tattoos on your body. So you can tell by just the way it is that he is one of them Christian nationalists. He wants to tell everybody to convert to my religion or else. But by the way, I don't believe this crap either. Because what I actually do is wield my religious views as a weapon so that I can control other people with it. Christian nationalism. That's what he is. So if that was a qualification, well, then he'd be qualified. But he's not. He is probably one of the most underqualified people to ever face confirmation hearings. Well, that's until other cabinet members are run through that process. But we have as a whole bunch of Christian nationalists, Republican senators in there lobbing softball questions at him and, glorifying Donald Trump and talking about how great he is and talking about how great Pete Hegseth is, Mr. Fox News host. And then, invoking the name of God every time they get an effing chance on the Senate floor. because that makes a lot of sense. Separation of church and state and all that. So anyway, those Republicans will most likely confirm him because all that matters is Donald effing Trump and their Christian nationalist views. Okay. The country be damned. The safety of our military be damned. It's all for Trump and Christian nationalism. That's what it is. Welcome to Project 2025. Inmate Trump.
Subscribe to Black Boot Official, please. I need to run and get, while I'm running to get my charger for my iPad. I'm going to let y'all listen to this other video, but I got to run and get my charger out of another room because, wait a minute. I forgot I have a charger. Hold on, y'all. Stay with me. I forgot I got one over in this other cabinet. A brand new one I haven't opened. I hope it's still in here. Hold on a little bit, y'all. Just a moment, okay? Hold on. I hope this thing fit across it. It's a brand new charger that I have not opened. So I don't have to go get the other one. I pray I don't. Hopefully this one is long enough, you guys. This is a brand new charger. It has not been opened. I forgot to charge my iPad after yesterday's show. So we're going to get back to the good foot in a moment. I just got to put the iPad on the charger. So Pete Hegseth, who is known as a drunk, allegedly. Well, it's been said. I don't know for sure, but that's what they say about Pete. Pete wants to be over the Department of Defense in the military. Is he worthy of it? Is the problem. Is he capable of getting the job done? Hold on, you guys. Now, I got to figure out which one is the light plug in. Just a moment, beautiful people. Bear with me, because I forgot to charge my iPad last night. Okay, I'm back. Okay, now we're going to get on to something else, okay? I apologize for that. I do not think that Mr. Pete is qualified, because any of the questions they asked him that are related to the Department of Defense, he knew absolutely nothing. But what I learned about anybody that Trump liked, it's like he trained them to think and lie like he does. One moment. More on Mr. Pete Hegseth. Just a moment, just a moment. Oh, we learned a lot about this man in one day. Thank you all for coming to my live. You are appreciated. You are valued. He's better than the current. No, he's not. How can he be better when he knows absolutely nothing about the job? So he's not qualified for the job.
To include 5,000 National Guardsmen from Indiana and Texas. We're at the border right now.
Hold on, y'all. I got to pull the charge over.
Ask the active duty military to staff detention centers. Our U.S. military is not trained in law enforcement roles. I think you know that, right? We've seen how that mission is difficult for them in places like Iraq and Afghanistan because that's not the training a uniformed military comes with. Do you support the use of active duty military in supporting detention camps?
Senator, everything we will do would be lawful and under the Constitution, but I recognize that this administration has abdicated its responsibility. President Trump is going to restore order at the border, prevent our enemies from invading, and yes, he is
Sir, I get your filibustering. I get it.
Part of what happened.
In the spirit of preserving the institution
that was Democratic Senator Slotkin grilling Pete
Subscribe
Hegseth
to Midas
before
Touch
the Senate
Network,
Armed
please.
Services confirmation hearing regarding Donald Trump's nomination of Pete Hegseth to be the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth has never commanded any significant group of people. He's never led an organization. There have been credible accusations against him of a sexual assault in the past, where he signed non-disclosure agreements and entered into a settlement agreement. There have been credible accusations about him abusing alcohol and doing so in public as well. Let's take you into the hearing. I want to show you some of the highlights. or I should say the lowlights as it relates to Hegseth. Here, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine talks about some of the allegations against Pete Hegseth. Let's play it.
Do you have non-disclosure agreements with either of those organizations? Not that I'm aware of, Senator. Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk. I know you've denied that, but you would agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense. Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality they're not anonymous. The letters on the record here, they're not anonymous. On the record, we've seen records with names attached for freedom, Concerned Vets for America, and Fox News. One of your colleagues working hard every day on behalf. One of your colleagues said that you got drunk at an event at a bar and chanted "Kill all Muslims." Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk. You tried to dance with strippers. You had to be held off the stage. And one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you denied these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense?
And here, Tim Kaine, Senator Kaine, grills Pete Hegseth, drilling down on the fact that this incident that took place at the hotel for which you signed a non-disclosure agreement, you still admitted that you had sexual relations, did you not? Here, play this clip.
Charges? Well, no, fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I'm so grateful for the marriage I have to this. No, you've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017. You said it was consensual, isn't that correct? Anything? Yes. You've admitted that it was consensual, and you were still married, and you just had a child by another woman. Again, how do you explain your completely false charges against me? You fully investigated, and I was completely clear. You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. You've admitted that. Now, if it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it? It was a false claim then and a false claim now. If it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it? That was a false claim. So you're talking about a hypothetical. So you can't tell me whether someone who has committed a sexual assault is disqualified from being Secretary of Defense? Senator, I know in my instance, and I'm talking about my instance only, it was a false claim. But you acknowledge that you cheated on your wife and that you cheated on the woman by whom you had just fathered a child. You've admitted that. I will allow your words to speak for themselves. You're not retracting that today. That's good. I assume that
Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth asks a very simple question. Do you know any of the nations, Mr. Hegseth, that are a part of the ASEAN group, ASEAN? Do you know any of them? Hegseth gets it wrong. He can't name one country. Play this clip.
Not qualified to that. You could do acquisition and cross-servicing agreements, which essentially are security agreements. You can't even mention that. You've done none of those. You talked about the Indo-Pacific a little bit, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. Can you name the importance of at least one of the nations in the ASEAN, and what type of agreement we have with at least one of those nations? And how many nations are in ASEAN, by the way?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of nations in that, but I know we have allies in South Korea and Japan and in AUKUS with Australia, trying to work on submarines with them.
Mr. Hegseth, none of those countries are in ASEAN. None of those 3 countries that you've mentioned are in ASEAN. I suggest you do a little homework before you prepare for these types of negotiations. Listen.
Another question here by Senator Duckworth. Let's play.
I want you to be able to tell me what kind of guidance will be given to those employees, what will happen if whether or not you pass that audit. Have you led an audit of any organization? Yes or no? I don't want a long answer. Yes or no? Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally responsible.
Yes or no? Did you lead an audit?
And the way
yes or no? Did you lead an audit? Yes or no?
Completely
what are you afraid of? You can't answer this question. Yes or no? Did you lead an audit? Do you not know this answer?
Senator, every part of my leadership of these organizations has been misrepresented.
I will take that as a no. What were the findings? So there were no findings because you've never led an audit. What?
Going back to Senator Kaine, Democrat. Let's play it.
False claims were made against me. And ultimately, your attorney used the phrase, I had the opportunity to attest my innocence in those false claims. But you didn't reveal any of this to President Trump or the transition team as they were considering you to be nominated for Secretary of Defense. You didn't reveal the action. You didn't reveal the criminal complaint. You didn't reveal the criminal investigation. You didn't reveal the settlement. You didn't reveal the cash payment. Why didn't you inform the commander-in-chief of the transition team of this very relevant event? Senator, I've appreciated every part of the process with the transition team. They have been open and honest with me. We've had great conversations between the two of us. And I appreciate the opportunity that President-elect. But you chose not to reveal this, right? Because you knew it would hurt your chances. So you chose not to reveal this really important thing to the commander-in-chief of the transition team because you were worried about your chances rather than trying to be candid with the future president of the United States. Are there any other important facts that you chose not to reveal to the president-elect and his team as they were considering you to be Secretary of Defense? Senator, I sit here before you in open book, as everyone who's watched this process, with multiple non-disclosure and confidentiality agreements tying the hands of many people who would like to comment to us.
Here, Hegseth does not deny a line of questioning from Senator Blumenthal detailing how Hegseth ran veterans nonprofits into the ground. Let's play it.
Okay, you took over the Veterans for Freedom in 2007. In 2008, you raised $8.7 million, but spent more than $9 million.
One moment, you guys.
Creating a deficit. By January 2009, you told donors that the organization had less than $1,000 in the bank and debts of $434,000. By 2010, revenue at the
if he gets sworn in,
about
the Department of Defense
in the next year,
I'm worried about America because this guy knows nothing about this position that Trump has picked him for.
Senator,
and that's scary.
Proud.
America doesn't need that. We need someone over our military that knows what he is doing.
Young vets with no political experience. Today's episode
not good. This is not good. Not good at all.
And the Panama Canal, and they're threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Would you carry out an order from President Trump to seize Greenland, a territory of our NATO ally Denmark, by force, or would you comply with an order to take over the Panama Canal?
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful commander.
We're not talking about the election. My question is, would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direction.
This dude is word vomiting. This dude is word vomiting. He does not answer questions. And who does that remind you of? Donald J. Trump.
And he endured it in incredibly strong ways. Considering you to be Secretary of Defense? Senator, I sit here before you in open book, as everyone who's watched this process, with multiple non-disclosure and confidentiality agreements tying the hands of many people who would like to comment to us.
This was a weird one from MAGA Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who I guess tried to humanize Pete Hegseth, but Mark Wayne Mullen, again, MAGA Republican Senator, says that he would be in prison if it was not for his wife. Really, you'd be in prison? Here, play this clip.
I've made mistakes, and Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison,
I don't care to listen to him because the fact is this guy is not qualified for the job. I don't want to listen to another white supremacist back this man up when we know he's not qualified.
CVA Christmas party at the Grand Hyatt at Washington, D.C., you were noticeably intoxicated and had to be carried up to your room. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
Another time, a CVA staffer stated that you passed out in the back of a party bus. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
And finally, we'll close with another clip from Democratic Senator Slotkin. Let's play it.
Abdicated and ignored for the last 4 years.
That wasn't my question. I'm just asking, have you been involved? You're about to be the Secretary of Defense, potentially. Have you been involved in discussions about using the active duty military inside the United States?
Senator, I am not yet the Secretary of Defense.
Right. I'm
if
just
confirmed, I would be party to any number of
But you haven't been in
conversations,
any of these
which I would
conversations.
not reveal what I have discussed with the President of the United States.
Just have you been in conversations? You're going to be in charge of 3 million people. The active duty that I know you care about, I believe you care about. So have you been in conversations about using the active duty in any way? Whether it's setting up in detention camps, policing dangerous cities, have you been involved in any of those conversations?
Certainly, I have been involved in conversations relating to doing things this administration has not, which is secure the southern border and not allow floods of illegals to enter our country through an invasion.
Okay.
There you have it, folks. That was the confirmation hearing.
Y'all be sure to subscribe to Midas Touch Network. That is Ben Macelis. Please subscribe to Midas Touch Network. Let's move on to something else. None of this surprises me because Donald Trump's entire cabinet are full with people that are not qualified and billionaires that do not know what they're doing. He has given his people that donated money to him and people he owed favors to those positions to supposed to be over us Americans for the people. They're not for the people. One moment, please. Carrie Underwood released a statement regarding up-and-coming inauguration performance. I love our country, and I am honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration. Okay, Carrie Underwood. Hold on.
To come back to Africa in something called reverse immigration.
Where she?
Just a moment. Carrie Underwood. Good old Carrie Underwood.
Hey, do you have that Obamacare?
Obamacare? What's that? What's that?
Oh, it's great.
It's good?
It's great.
What is it?
I started signing up last Thursday and I'm almost done. Let's go to the website and get you signed up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Let's see. This can't be too hard, right?
Why is it spinning?
Oh, it does that.
Okay. Why is it smoking?
I don't. Maybe we should restart it. Obamacare by morning. Why is this taking so long?
Taking so long.
So long.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna wind up with hemorrhoids if I sit here till dawn. We'll have cataracts and dementia. Oh, this is getting on my last nerve.
Obamacare by morning. Over 6 people serve.
Doctor.
Hey, do you have that Obamacare?
So, apparently, Carrie has always been MAGA, and we didn't know that. I'm quite sure some of her relatives are getting what? Obamacare. And there's so many people in my chat that receive Obamacare. I want to thank each and every last one of you all for coming to my live today. Without you, I would have no show. Thank each and every last one of you beautiful kings and queens. And there will be more tomorrow. Because Dunny Boy never stops with those Twitter fingers. Those X fingers, you know, the little hand man. Thank you all. Hit that like button before you head up out of here. God bless. And I love you all. Bye. Thank you so much.